am finally doing another reading wrap up. I haven't done these in such a long time, and I'm very excited now because I finally read enough books in a month to actually film this video. This year is probably like the worst reading year ever. I've usually, like, from the start of this year until now, like each month I would only read like 1 or 2 books, which is like so bad because I just have been in the worst reading slump. I hate it so much. I'm kind of out of it now. I'm actually in a reading slump again. I don't know. I'm trying to just like take my time and not force myself to read if I don't want to. But yeah, I'm gonna be doing a reading wrap up for September and October. Most of the books I do not have it with me because a lot of the books are back home. Most of the books here in my apartment are not books that I read before. Like a lot of these are new that I just bought from Amazon and stuff. So I would only be showing like a few physical books. The others will be just like a picture of the book. At least I can talk to you guys about the books. I'm gonna give you guys like my ratings, my opinions, what I think of the book, if I like it or not. And yeah, we're just gonna get right into it. So if you guys haven't followed me on my Goodreads account, you can not follow me, we can be friends. My Goodreads account, I'm just gonna put the username right here and you can just like, you know, go ahead and check it out. I update a lot of my readings there, like every single time. I am really active there. So we're gonna start with the very first book, and this is from September. I think I only finished like 3 books. I don't know, I'm not sure. I'm not really gonna like tell you guys the exact dates, but the first book that I finished is Maybe in Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I think I've talked about this book on my like book haul that I did like 2 days ago. I do not really like this book. I thought it was going to be much better. I have kind of like high expectations for this book. I really love Taylor Jenkins Reid. Like, she is my favorite author. I rated a lot of her books 5 stars, which is not common because like I don't really rate a lot of books 5 stars, but I rated like at least 3 of her books 5 stars, which is like insane. Yeah, this book is kind of like a romance book, but it also has these aspects of like parallel universe where the decision of this like one girl changes her whole life, and you can see like a parallel universe of her life from the different choices that she makes. So it just like constantly like goes back and forth between those 2 parallel lives. I don't know how to explain this book, honestly. Like, when I first read it, I was so confused. I was like, what the hell is happening? But it's like very easy to go through though. Like, it's very understandable. Like, I feel like if you're a beginner, if you just started reading and stuff, I feel like this book would be perfect because it's easy to understand and it's really like fast paced, I guess, so you can just like go through it kind of quickly. It's kind of character driven though, so it might be a little boring sometimes because you're just gonna read about like a person's life and nothing crazy is really happening. So I rated this book like 3 out of 5 stars. Nothing really special, but I wouldn't say that this is like a bad book. Now, like, I would recommend it for some other people, but this book's just like not for me personally. And then the second book that I read is Before We Were Strangers by Renee Carlino, but this book isn't something that I expected it to be. Like, I imagined it to be something completely different from what I actually get from reading this book, but overall it's really enjoyable. I rated it 4 stars. It's about these 2 characters. The guy's name, oh my god, I forgot his name. I always forget his name. I think I've talked about this book as well. Like, a lot of the books that I'm going to be talking about today might be talked about before. Matt. Okay, so the guy's name is Matt and the girl's name is Grace. How did I forget? This is so annoying. Oh, I got it. Grace. Matt and Grace. I think they met in like college or something along the lines of that, like school. And from the start they had this very like obvious chemistry and like connection with each other. You can really see it. I really love the chemistry in this book. I can really see the connection between them, and they're kind of like giving off this soulmate vibe, but then something happened between them and that made them kind of like drift apart. They didn't talk again for like 15 years. One day after those 15 years they accidentally met in this like train station, and that's when like all the past memories and time they had together came rushing back to the both of them, and obviously they still have this like connection between them. Their connection was so strong back in the day that it still is there even though they're not in each other's lives for like 15 years. They kind of reconciled from there and they started to get to know each other again, and basically that's like the whole story of this. I really don't remember a lot of stuff. I feel like I have very horrible memories when it comes to like finishing books. The moment I finish a book, I would just like forget everything unless it's like something so memorable. It goes back and forth to both of their point of views. Each of them have their own point of views, and I love that this book has a first-person point of view. I don't like it if a book is like a third-person point of view. It just makes it so weird. Like, I prefer being in like the character's mind. It just really makes it more personal and like easily digestible for me. So yeah, it's a 4 stars. It's like good, but nothing really special for me, but it's overall very enjoyable and it's very easy to go through. So I need to check my Goodreads account because I don't remember a lot of the books that I finish. Okay, so I read this book while I was back in Indonesia, and the book's there, so I don't have it with me, but I love the cover. It is Magnolia Parks by J.S. Hastings. So this book is about BJ, and I don't know the girl's name, I'm so sorry, but it is a series. I think there are 4 books or 5 books so far, and the books are thick. I haven't read the second book because the first book is not really that special for me. Again, I feel like whenever I see books that a lot of people rave about, that a lot of people like insanely love, they rate it at like 5 stars. I ended up setting very high expectations for that certain book, and it just ended up not reaching that expectation of mine, and that's what happened with this book. But it really reminds me of Gossip Girls. Well, a lot of people say that like if you love Gossip Girls you should read this book, and this whole book is a character-driven book just going through the lives of this group of friends who grew up in like a very rich family. They live in this like, I don't know, mansion and stuff. There are a lot of like dramas happening. Like not even a single moment this book does not have drama. Like every single page the drama just keeps on adding up, and that's like the part where I don't like, is that one aspect of the drama, so like this one thing that's a problem in this book just keeps on repeating itself, and I just don't like it. I feel like it's kind of repetitive, which makes it annoying. I feel like they should have added newer and different, more unique problems compared to just like focusing on this one problem and repeating it over and over again. It just makes it kind of repetitive for me, and that's like the problem that I have with this book. But overall it's very enjoyable. I went through it very quickly, and it's just entertaining, I guess. But just to warn you, the relationship between the main characters are very toxic, and sometimes I just can't handle it. Like it's so toxic. But that's not the point of it. You don't read this book for the sake of like the romance, you read this book for the sake of the drama. So getting to this book, you should actually have that mindset, or else you'll actually like hate this book. Yeah, you just have to read it for yourself. I'm not gonna give any spoilers or anything. So, and then the next book is another romance book. I read a lot of romance. That is probably most of the books that I read. The next book that I read is Say You Swear by Megan Randy, and the guy, he is a football player. His name's Noah. The girl's name is Ariana. Yeah, I love it so much. I actually cried. I did not expect to cry in this book because I thought it was gonna be just like that very like fun, epic romance. No, it's so sad, and there are plot twists, like crazy insane plot twists that I would never ever expect to happen, and I just love Noah so much. He's probably like one of my favorite book boyfriends ever. Like he will definitely like raise the standards for you. I love him so much, and Ariana's just like a very nice girl. I love when like the female character is likable, and you can really feel the chemistry and connection between them. I love them so much, but I don't really remember what happened in the book. But I think they're playing in this like beach house. They weren't friends, but they're friends with each other's friends. Oh my god, I don't know if that makes sense. That makes sense, right? That's where they met, and at first they were only friends because the girl, Ariana, she's actually like pining for like another guy. Like she likes another guy, and they seem to have this like kind of like situationship. It's not even a relationship. I don't like that guy at all. Like you'll understand why if you read it. But then, you know, as time goes by, she also started to catch feelings for Noah, and that's when the whole relationship thing started. It's so good. Again, I rated this book like 4.5 stars. Oh, I forgot to rate Magnolia Parks. Magnolia Parks is probably like a 3.5 star for me. I'm so sorry. People are probably gonna attack me for that, but yeah. Okay, so moving on to the next book is Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. So this is actually the second book from a series. I've read the first book as well, which I'm gonna discuss later, but I didn't know this was a series, and I bought the second book first, so I thought it's fine, I'll just read it. And you can actually read it as a standalone, but it's better if you read the first book first, because you can see like the characters from the first book appearing in the second book, and you can just like see them together, and it's just so much better if you read the first book, because then you get to really know the characters, the side characters more. But I didn't know that. I didn't do that, but it's fine. I love this book so much. It is so good. I rated it like 4.5 stars. It's a bodyguard romance, which is something that I've only read once. So the bodyguard is Will, and the girl is named Annie. Annie is a very like sunshine, happy, positive girl. I really love her as a character. She's just like the sweetest person ever, and then they have very opposite personalities, which I really love. I love when the book couples have like these opposite dynamics thing going on. I didn't know I was gonna enjoy it this much. Like I thought it was just gonna be like a normal romance book, but no, it's so good and I love it so much. They have amazing chemistry. It is so fun to read about them. Oh, I should probably like tell you guys a little bit of the plot line. So Annie, she's this very awkward, shy girl. She feels kind of pressured to have a relationship because she's like, I think she's 20 something or 30 even. She's not really good at relationships because it's always awkward for her whenever it comes to like talking to guys and like going on dates. And she did go on a date just for the sake of like finding the perfect match for her, but it didn't went well, and Will went into the same restaurant with his date, and that's when everything kind of unraveled. The moment they talk to each other, they just immediately connect. Annie struggles talking to guys, but when it comes to Will, everything's just like so easygoing, and that's when they started like to catch feelings. The main plot of this book is Will teaching Annie how to date. So Will is kind of like her coach. Annie made him her coach. She begs him to like, please help me so that I can like be good at going on dates, at talking to like guys and stuff. So Will is like teaching her all that while trying to suppress his real feelings for her, and her also trying to suppress her feelings for him. So while they're doing all of these like practice dates and like relationship stuff, they're falling for each other in the middle of that. And a lot of amazing quotes. Like, I annotated so much from this book, and I just kind of hope that I actually brought it here, but I didn't. So the next book that I read is Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney. I don't know how to feel about this book. I feel like this happens over and over again with a lot of Sally Rooney's books. Like, her books are just kind of like hard for me to rate. Like, I just don't know what to rate it. Like, I always ended up getting confused when it comes to like her books. Like, I did finish the book, which means that it's actually not that boring because I actually did went through it, and I went through it kind of quickly. But after finishing the book, I was like, what's the point of that book? I don't know the point of Conversations with Friends. It is literally just a group of friends having conversations with each other, and that's it. So I rated this book like 3 to 5 stars. Again, the way Sally Rooney writes, she writes dialogues without that apostrophe signs, which could be very confusing. So yeah, I don't like the fact that she does that, but I actually didn't really like end up struggling, so it's fine, you know. But yeah, it's a 3 to 5, a very normal book, but I did actually enjoy it. Yeah, a lot of things are happening, so at least it's not boring. Then the next book that I read is The Heart Principle by Helen Huang, and this is the 3rd book from the Kiss Quotient series. I think there are 3 books. Yeah, I read the 1st book, I read the 3rd book, but I didn't read the 2nd book. I think the 2nd book is The Bright Test. I should probably read it because this book is amazing. When I first finished this book, I rated it like immediately 5 stars because I've never read a book that fast. Like, I read it in like a sitting, 2 sittings probably, I don't know. And the main characters are Anna and Kwan. I love Kwan. I thought I wasn't gonna like him. This book also touches the subject of autism. So Anna, she has autism, and you're gonna see her progressively discover that she actually has it because she doesn't know it before. Yeah, I don't know, I feel like it's very interesting. I never really knew anything about that topic, and this book really like helped me become more familiar and aware with like the whole autism concept. Their romance is also very amazing. I love it so much. This is so entertaining and it's so engaging. I didn't feel bored or sleepy once. Whenever I read any book, I always would end up like feeling a little bit sleepy sometimes, but this book does not do that to me. Like, I just ate this up. It's so good. Okay, this final rating is probably like 4.7 out of 5. Like, I want it so bad to be like a 5-star, but I don't know, maybe if the book is longer. Okay, then the next book that I read, probably one of my favorite books ever, is Saving Six by Chloe Walsh. This is a part of a series. It's the Boys of Tillman series. There are 4 books in total. I think there are more books that are going to come out, but it's going to come out like next year. So the first 2 books is about Johnny and Shannon, and the 3rd and 4th book, which I'm going to be talking about right now, is about Joey and Eva. I think that's how you spell her name, Eva. It's spelled Alfie, but I read in the book that you should actually spell it as Eva, or like, I don't know. Oh my god, I love this book so much. I even made a playlist on my Spotify account. You should listen to the song because I put in my whole energy and heart out on that playlist. So many amazing songs there that just describes them as a couple. This book is very thick. I read it through Kindle. That's why I don't have like the physical copy here with me. I think the physical copy is released at the end of November, and I am not patient enough to wait for that long to buy the physical copy. But yeah, so I decided to just like read it through Kindle, and I did not regret a single thing. And I have never read this fast for like a very thick book. I read it for like 3 days. I am considered like a slow reader, so I just cannot really like focus on a book for a long span of time, and I rated this book 5 stars. The only book that I rated 5 stars this month. And it's a type of book where like the couple just, you just don't forget about the couple. Like, it just stays in your mind. It has the found family trope. Normal romance books, I love the couple, but then I would forget it the moment I finished the book. But with books that has found family trope, it's different. Like, these characters would just continually be a part of your day. Like, you would just find yourself obsessing and reminding yourself of them because that's how much you love them. So that's what I feel about this book. And I also read the fourth book, which is still about them. So they have 2 books written for them, and the fourth one is Redeeming 6. I rated this book like 4.5 stars. I do love the first book more because the first book explains from the very first start when they first met. It talks about very heavy topics like abuse, mentally and physically, and also about drugs and stuff like that. So Joey, he is a drug addict, and that happened because of the trauma he faced in his home. It's very sad. I cried so many times in this book. This whole book is just like sad and depressing and just very mentally draining, honestly, but I still really love them. I've never felt this attached to characters in any book as much as I do in this series. Oh, also I made like a Pinterest board for them. That's how much I love them. Like, if I love a book couple that much, I would always end up making a Pinterest board for them and a Spotify playlist for them. It's just a way for me to, you know, release all of this like obsession because I just can't help it. Like, okay, then the last book that I read this month, I finally have the physical copy with me, is When in Rome by Sarah Adams. So this is the book that I was talking about, where the second book is Practice Makes Perfect. This is the first book, and it revolves around Noah and Amelia Rose. From the start, I really love their dynamic. So Amelia Rose is a singer, she's an artist, she's famous, everybody knows her. Noah Walker is the complete opposite. He lives in this small town, he's a baker, he has this like pie shop and he just like sells pies, and he doesn't even own a phone which I just could not stop laughing. He listens to classic music. He's basically like an oldie, like a grandpa at heart. Physically, he's so hot. You could really say his life is very peaceful, and he loves reading books, which made him like 100 times hotter. When I first read it in the book, I was like, oh my god, he reads books as well. Oh my god. And their relationship is so cute. I feel like this is a YA romance though. This is a type of couple where their relationship is like wholesome and sweet, and it just makes you smile throughout the whole book. Like, when I was reading this book, I just could not stop smiling and giggling and just having the best time of my life. But I do love the second book better. I rated this book 4 stars, but it's so good. I love it so much. So those are all the books that I read in September and October. I had pretty good reading months because none of the books I rated are lower than 3 stars, which is pretty good for me. So I really hope that you guys can find new book recommendations in this video that you can read. Let me know if you've read any of these books. Let me know if you like it or not. And I really hope that I'll be reading more books next month so that I can actually like film this video again and I can, you know, talk about more books, more interesting books. And yeah, thank you so much for watching today's video, and I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!